This talk is interactivity from 1,000 years ago in your home haunt. I'm Greg MacLaurin, a theme park designer for decades. I've worked in special effects design, concept design, and interactive design at Disney, Universal, and many, many other places. Interactivity isn't new. Interactivity has been a dream of humans ever since we have created things. There are examples from thousands of years ago of statues and devices that would talk and move when people would come up to them. If we look back far enough and deeply enough in the past, we can see what people have created, and we can gain inspiration for devices that we can create for our own home haunts. When you add an interactive device in your home haunt, you're adding unpredictability, variety, and engagement. You can have devices that can follow your audience around a room. You can have different apparitions which would appear to different people in a group. So in this talk, we're first going to look back into the past to get a feel for what types of interactive devices have been created thousands of years ago, and use that as inspiration to create devices that we can put in our own home haunt. Then we're going to look generally at the industry of interactivity, where to look for technology in order to help us create a device for our own home haunt. So let's get started. Talking statues. Talking statues are a compelling way to make your audience believe that something inanimate is alive. Sometimes just having a voice come from a statue is enough. Sometimes priests would make the mouth move in coordination with the voice. Here, this carving from Italy in the 1700s is of Jesus. And if you look closely, you can see how the beard covers the joint that allows the lower jaw to move up and down. This sculpture also had a hidden lever to operate the jaw. Here are temple and idol doors that would open magically when summoned. Here are water fonts that could be magically filled. Here are examples of statues that would magically extinguish a fire with sacred water. Having actors play a role in your haunt is an ancient idea. Hundreds of years ago, sorcerers impressed royalty by making severed heads talk, which, because they are dead, had sight into the future, and they could share their predictions. Projections and magic lanterns. Magicians like Gaspard Robinson created shocking phantasmagory in 1802 by using magic lantern slides, a new innovation. The magic lantern slides would be moved by hidden operators to make the images course around the room to make the audience believe that ghosts were real. The black arts. This technique allows objects to mysteriously move around a stage or a room because the person is hidden in the blackness. It's essentially a concept of optical contrast and can also be used with black light. Seances. Asking people who've died to talk to us and to give us solace is a desire as ancient as humans have been alive. But a certain type of communication with the dead started in America in a very odd way in 1848. In 1848, two little girls, the Fox sisters, noticed that they could make a snapping sound with their knees and ankles if they pressed their knees and ankles hard enough into the wooden floor. It amplified and resonated in the wooden room. They played with this and asked each other's questions, responding only by the sounds from their knees. They convinced their third older sister that this was real and a spirit was tapping yes and no. Their parents and eventually the whole community believed that ghosts were communicating through the house, led by the little girls. Newspaper articles were written about it, and it became a national curiosity, which led, oddly enough, to create an entire industry of seance and spiritualism in America. In the spiritualist community, this method of communication is known as call and answer and is used today. Seances, traditionally and unethically, fooled people by using deep darkness to hide other people, making hands, smoke, whispers, and other objects float about the sacred room. Interactive technology. Yes, like our forebears, we can use human-powered methods to make our devices, our statues, our creations come to life. But of course, current technology offers us a higher level of vitality, of life that we can bring to our show. Let's look at how technology can enhance our shows. First, the concept of interactivity can be divided into two types. There is sensing and there is presenting. Sensing technology knows when the guest is there, senses when they have stepped into a room, when they break an invisible beam, when they move into a space. Presenting technology is different because it merely reveals your ghost, shows and makes your illusion happen. Sensing. Of course, we can have a person hidden and we can have them sense when the audience enters a room or when they do a certain thing and have that trigger an effect. But technology gives us a far greater degree of freedom and variety. There are two groups that can help us when we want to choose some sensing technology to trigger our illusions. There is, of course, the security industry, and there is the maker community. The security industry is based on sensing when people are in or not in certain places. They have a variety of technologies that we can modify for our own home haunts. The maker community, Maker Faire, and Make Magazine is an amazing group of people who get together at conventions and write articles in magazines describing the homemade devices that they have created. We can look at their creations and find when they have used certain sensing technologies and copy and become inspired by what they have done. The Make magazine usually has a list of components and a step-by-step list of things to do in order to take that whatever technology and use it for some new device. Here is a current issue of Make magazine. I can see a variety of articles, a telephone dialer, which senses when people touch the dial, a hand soap dispenser, which senses when people touch it. You can look at those devices and thousands of others on their website and find ways to sense when people enter a room, when they touch objects, when they move, and use that technology for your home haunt. There are a wide variety of sensing technologies that the security industry uses. We can use them for our own home haunts. Floor mats, of course, set to trigger an effect. There are light beams when light is focused on a receiving sensor and reacts when that beam is cut off. Incandescent light or infrared beams are the common way to have light beam technology. You can also arrange a grid of beams similar to touch sensors on a computer screen to create a wall of sensors. Photosensors and photocells can detect either the addition or reduction of light. It's similar to light beams, but in this variation, the audience themselves can reflect or generate the light for a receptor. If your audience, say, carries a flashlight, when they aim it at a certain thing, it can trigger an illusion. Proximity sensors are usually set to trip when a person is an inch or two away from some device. Touch sensors, physically touching a device, can be recognized in a few ways: change in capacitance or a change in pressure. Video recognition systems. Cameras can recognize either a change in an image when people walk into an empty room, or the more sophisticated systems can identify selected elements, like a person's face or a particular pattern on clothing. Computer programs. There are too many to list here, but the best for beginners is Arduino. There's an entire community of Arduino programmers. You can find it in Make Magazine and Maker Faire. They have hundreds of articles about making devices controlled with Arduino. The main advantage of using a programming device is to vary the presentation. You can have one trigger, and that can have a stepped series of responses. All of these sensing technologies have to be hidden from your audience. You want them to believe that your room, that your spirit, that your creation is alive. It is your job, it is your skill as an artist to find ways to hide these technologies so your audience isn't aware that they are being sensed and the effect is being triggered. Presenting. There are, of course, an unlimited number of methods you can use to create your ghost, your illusion, but it helps if you can categorize it down into one of a few simple categories. You can have mechanical. That is any machine that moves. You can have a device that creates things like fog, water, flame, scent, or even ionization. Audio, anything where you're creating a sound for your ghost. And of course, video, when you can have an image that is either projected onto something or is reflected. All of these types of presentation technologies, when sensed and triggered, will come to life. It's crucial for you as a creator, as an artist, to hide all these technologies from your audience so they aren't aware of them. They are just aware of your idea. Get inspired. Look to the security industry for sensing devices. Look to the maker community for ways to combine these devices for your story, for your ghost, for your haunt. And start creating. My name is Greg MacLaurin. Good luck and happy haunts.